B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. Shiur Torah. Baruch Hashem. We're back in Tzaniah, so starting a new week. Today's shiur will be for a refuah shlema for David ben Nesriya, Doris Bajora, Levana bat Sarah, Rabbi Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah, Bat Anat, Yochevet bat Batya, Batya bat Sarah, Elisheva Chaya bat Sarah, and also for Tshuva Shlema for all of Am Yisrael Be'ezrat Hashem. Tshuva Shlema. So just a few minor updates or reminders for anyone that's either watching for the first time or just doesn't know or perhaps has bad memory. Anyone that wants to get daily updates, short clips that Baruch Hashem, Team Hashem makes of our shiurim, 5-10 minute clips, updates of our events that are coming up, different the long shiurim when they get publicized. The best thing to do is to join our WhatsApp groups by sending a text message with your name to 1917-468-2324. 1917-468-2324. That's my number. You could also use that number to send me questions once you tell me your name and who you are, and that I can verify that you're not a missionary. If you are a missionary, then just be prepared for me to tear you apart. I don't like missionaries very much. So I'm going to send you all types of interesting things that are going to destroy your religion, and hopefully you'll become a Jew. But anyway, nothing personal, just against your idolatry. Nothing personal. Aside from that, all the people that want updates as far as the movie, people keep asking me about the movie that's coming up, B'ezrat Hashem, the long movie of our personal tshuva journey. That's B'ezrat Hashem coming out soon. So far, we've actually added some subtitles to it in Hebrew, in Spanish. I believe Dutch is being made, possibly Korean, and something else I keep forgetting. But Baruch Hashem, a bunch of people are actually interested in putting subtitles on it. If you know another language and really well, it's your first language, and you know how to put subtitles, then and you want to contribute, please contact us. We'd be happy to add different language subtitles. This is one of those movies that's relevant for everyone around the world, especially now, and you'll hear later on why. So WhatsApp group is a fantastic way to get our updates. Second thing is also our Facebook. Our Facebook pages, the B'ezrat Hashem page, the Rabbi Yaron Reuven page. You just like the page and you get updates. If you're already on this Facebook, at least do something useful and get on the page and watch and share lectures. Facebook is not recommended. WhatsApp is not recommended. Social media is never recommended. But if you're already using it, use it for the right reason. The internet's not recommended. Quite frankly, it's not recommended for you to leave your house. But if you're already going to leave your house, do something holy. Do something useful. If you're already going to use the internet, do something useful. People say, oh wait, the internet is bad. It has all types of bad things. Yes, it does. So does a car. You could use it like the terrorists and run over people. You could use it to run over people. You could use it to come to the lecture. Choose your destination. Everything can be used for good and bad. Everything can be used in good and bad. So we're not necessarily recommending anyone start a Facebook profile or a WhatsApp or anything else. But if you're already on it, at least you'll have something holy to do on that page. So the movie B'ezrat Hashem should be coming out very soon. Maybe even before Rosh Hashanah, but we'll see. Or maybe after Rosh Hashanah. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll see. So that's another thing. Also, anyone that wants to, that has benefited from all the work that we've been doing for the last several years, help, Baruch Hashem, anyone that's gotten chizuk, anyone that's done tshuva, Baruch Hashem, this program over here Just last week, 3 guys went to yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. They came here complete chilonim, didn't keep Shabbat even. Baruch Hashem, last week they all went, 3 guys went to yeshiva for a year in Eretz Yisrael. So, Yishtabach Shemolad, we see that it's not only working, but people are mamash changing their life. So for someone to go from not keeping Shabbat to keeping Shabbat is already a big milestone. Someone goes from keeping Shabbat to learning a little bit, maybe come to the lecture a few times a week, is a big milestone. But someone to go learn yeshiva is, Baruch Hashem, it's obviously a very big commitment, and hopefully they take advantage of their opportunity and stay there, not just stay there for a year. Baruch Hashem, there's a few people that went before the week before, and people are benefiting from these lectures all over the world, whether they're coming from religious backgrounds, or like the story that I told you guys last week of the wife of the Avrech, Shoshana, and her dear husband, Yitzchak, or it's coming from completely secular, atheistic background. People that are watching these lectures, it's only a matter of time before you start doing tshuva, because you can't really deny what the truth is. It's simply in-your-face type of truth. You want to continue denying it, enjoy. But the reality is that it's very hard to deny things that are relatively common sense. You just never saw them. So the WhatsApp page, the Facebook page, all of these different vehicles, obviously the YouTube, you subscribe to the channel to make sure you get all the videos. Every day there's a new video, not just the long lectures, but also short videos that we publicize. And these are all different things that I'm reminding you not only to subscribe, but also to share. Everyone here has at least 1 or 2 friends, maybe 1,000 friends, however many friends you have on your pages. Share it with them. Don't think too much about it. Don't think, maybe this is too strong, this is too weak, this is too much, don't think too much. When you're doing kiruv, it's pretty much shoot first, aim later. You don't know where Hashem wants to take it. All He wants to see is whether you care enough to simply share His Torah. How it's going to affect people and the actual results of it, that's in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So anyone that wants to contribute in sharing the lectures, please do. It's free. Anyone that has money and wants to help our efforts, please donate on be'ezatashem.org or on the Facebook page. It's a BEEZRATHASHEM.org. It's tax deductible. I know that a lot of people are in a hurry to save their money for buying aliyot during the Chagim, so they could show off to their friends all the money that they saved up, and they could donate in public. But quite frankly, if your shul is the average shul today, it's better you don't donate. And the reason why is because the average shul has simply become a business that produces parties. Every few months there's a party for another holiday. Every few months there's more sufganiyot, more donuts, more people making more sins. There's not much tshuva. If your shul hosts shurei Torah that help people do tshuva on a regular basis, that place you donate. That's not a shul. That's a kiruv organization. But if your shul is simply just a place for people to pray, it's a waste of money to donate to them. Simply a waste of money. Why? There's more shuls than we have Jews. So if it stays open or it doesn't really make much of a difference. But if we don't have people, then I promise you, we're going to have a serious problem. And that's some of the things that I want to talk about today. Right now, anyone that's been paying attention over the last few days has noticed that almost every rabbi, English, Hebrew, Russian, that has a little bit of truth in him, which Baruch Hashem there are a few, is not really giving the typical shiur Torah over the last few days. Everyone has all of a sudden become a politician. Over the last few days, every rabbi has put his political hat. But that's not because they want or care for politics, but rather because we are in time of danger. We are a time of severe danger no less than right before the Holocaust. Now, anyone that wants to know the future could do one of two things. One, you could just wait and see, and then you'll be one of the victims, unfortunately, because that's what happens to people that just wait and see and do nothing. Or you could read the Epic of the Mashiach by Rav Wasserman, Alav Shalom, written almost 80 years ago, years before the Holocaust. And you'll see how he literally describes the day, describes everything that happened in his day, what was happening with the Chafetz Chaim, what was happening with the nation, what was happening with the government, and so on and so forth. And a lot of people listened and did nothing. Hence the Holocaust came. Right now we're at that time. Now we've talked about this many times, but something new came up. Why did everybody change their tone? Why did Rav Mizrahi, Sheikhye, all of a sudden decide to do a whole lecture about government in Hebrew? Not one, like 5, 6 of them, one after another. Rav Zamir Cohen, probably the least likely to ever pick a battle with anybody. Such a tzaddik doesn't pick a battle with anyone. You have to force him to get mad, and he still doesn't. All of a sudden did a shiur about politics. Rabbi Zamir Cohen, what do you have to do with politics? You're not running for office. It's enough running Hidabut, Baruch Hashem, big organization. What are you talking about politics for? Rabbi Ephraim Kachlon, our dear Rabbi. 2 shurim already, in the last couple of days, about the government. Why? Why does everybody care about the government all of a sudden? In the next 48 hours, Israel is going to have an election. Again. They're going to have an election again. The government system in Israel is a little retarded, so they have an election, it seems like, almost every other day. But the point is that we have a problem we've never really faced before, which is that in the past, the people that hated the Torah, the Zionists, the lefty liberals, whether it was a Ben Gurion that used the Tanakh in his United Nations speech in order to convince the UN to give them the land. Does he keep anything that Tanakh says? Did he even read the Tanakh? I highly doubt it. But it was good for the argument. It worked. It worked. The rest of his Zionist friends did similar things. Now, their hatred for Judaism was always hidden. Herzl Yimach Shimo had a communication with the Pope saying that his solution to anti-Semitism is that he believes that all of the Jews should convert to Christianity. Just like his son did. He converted his son to Christianity. There's no sound, Sonny, so you could take the thing. Special kaparat avonot with this Facebook. So, is there sound now?
There's sound on the
New link? Okay. So, Herzl Yimach Shimo wanted to solve the Jewish problem by converting all the Jews to Christianity, showing that his problem was not religion per se, but rather the Torah itself. But still, this was only found later on, after he died, in his journal, in his private journal. He wasn't public about it. Many of the Zionists hid their hatred for Judaism. They weren't active about it, but they weren't practicing, but they pretended that they could cope. For the first time in history, the Jewish lefty liberal haters of Judaism are as vocal about it as Hamas is about terrorism. Right now we have two people running for government to take the position in Eretz Yisrael. Lapid, Avigdor, Hitler, whatever his name is. These two Reshaim are outright telling the people that their strategy, their goal, their pretty much their dream is to completely break up the Rabbanut. No more Rabbanut in Eretz Yisrael. Allow people to eat pig freely. There's a rule, there's a law in Eretz Yisrael about pig. Well, where you're allowed to sell it, where you're not allowed to sell it. There's a rule about people getting married, you have to go to the Rabbanut. They want to completely break up everything. Allow people to marry whoever they want. If Simcha wants to marry Mustafa, let her marry him. Don't get in the way. If they want to marry a dog, let them marry. If a guy wants to marry a guy, let him marry. Guy wants to marry his sister, let him marry. Let people do whatever they want. You want to eat pig? Eat pig. You want to eat whatever you want? Eat. Do what you want. You want to convert to Christianity? They'll help you. Like they helped an organization 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. The government gave them a permit to do public conversions to Christianity. They didn't let a Jewish organization, a Jewish artist, they didn't let him have a concert for religious people. Because he said, no, you're not allowed to have a concert where men and women are separated. But you're allowed, what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to Christianize the Jews. That's what you're allowed to do. Baptize the Jews. That you're allowed to do. Help the Christians, we help. But keep the Jews Jewish? No, chas v'shalom. So these lefty liberals have had a secret for many years, but the secret is out, and that's actually their pitch. Their pitch to the people is the first target is Judaism. The first target, as soon as they get into office, is to destroy the Rabbanut, to destroy the Torah, to close the yeshivot. And they even said on the news that one of the people actually said, if he could, he would not allow religious Jews to have kids. He said if he could, they were having a TV. On TV, they were saying, who hates religious people more? One guy says, well, I hate them so much, I'm going to close all the yeshivot. Another guy says, what? Not only that, I hate them so much that as soon as if I have the ability, anybody that studies Torah, I put him in jail. Third guy says, no, come on. I hate them so much. If it was up to me, he says, I wouldn't allow them to have kids. Meaning, they're thinking of things that even the Greeks and the Romans didn't think. Paro didn't think. Fulfilling the verse, Me'alsaich or Me'alvaich b'mich yotzeu. Your conquerors, your destroyers will come from within you. Now, these are the people that are running for government right now in Eretz Yisrael. And what makes it more scary is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is showing us that this is very likely to happen. Meaning, this is very likely to come to fruition unless we do something. One of the signs is that for the first time in history, Ishmael is joining forces with the liberal lefties. The Arab terrorists that never concern themselves with Israeli politics, they're in the government, but they don't care about who, what, when, and how. They have their own place, and they care less about joining forces with Jews. For the first time ever, they said, we're going to help the lefty liberals. We're going to help the lefty liberals destroy the Torah. So we see here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is increasing the danger, showing us that the signs are as clear as day. And the truth is, we're still sleeping. Now, I'm not really so worried about what's going to happen in 2 days. I'm not really even worried about so much about the religious people staying religious. Whoever is real is going to stay real. Whoever's a faker, is faker now, he's going to be faker in 2 days. Nothing's going to change. The problem is that Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Lazeh. All of Am Yisrael is responsible for each other. If we fall as a unit. We fall as a nation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he sent Hitler, when he sent Haman, when he sent Nebuchadnezzar, he didn't send them to go and just kill secular people. He didn't send Haman, Nebuchadnezzar, Hitler, and all of the other terrorists to just go kill the Mechalel Shabbat, to just go kill the sinner, to just go kill all the people that didn't want to come to the shiur. They wanted to stay home, watch basketball, watch football. He didn't just do them. What did he say? He sent Haman to everybody. Where? In every corner in the world. Meaning all these people that are running to Eretz Yisrael thinking it's going to save them. Oh, you got to do aliyah. People send me an email at least 3 times a week. You got to do aliyah. Danger, danger. I'm like, wait, you think you're safer over there? If there's a gzerah coming, it's coming everywhere. Anyone that doesn't think that that's possible is dreaming, is living ashlayot. Things are happening in the world. Only thing that's going to help us is tshuva. But the problem is that most people don't actually see that. They're still sleeping. So I'm not necessarily too worried about what's going to happen in a couple of days as far as the election. And the reason why is because whether they win or not, whether these Reshaim win or not, it doesn't really make a difference. And the reason why is because if they don't win now, they're going to win in the future. Meaning, if they don't win in a couple of days, Be'ezrat Hashem, let's be hopeful. Guys, please, with the potato chips, you got to stop. It's extremely distracting me. I'm trying to focus and you're making, theatrics with the potato chips. Please. Take a bunch, put it in your hand, and enjoy the food. I don't care, but the pack, the wrapper, all that stuff, there's 1, 2, 3, 17 of you eating potato chips. It's distracting. I promise you, if you were in my chair, it would be distracting to you also. Take a bowl, put it in a bowl, a cup, chavod. Now, the problem is not that they're 2 days from now, or a day from now. That's not the problem. The problem is that the cancer is already inside the nation. Meaning, if, let's say, some person comes to the doctor and says, Doc, check me. The doctor checks him and says, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You got growth. You got a tumor. You got a tumor. But come back to me in 4 years from now. Come back to me in 4 years from now. Come back to me in 4 months from now. Come back to me in a year from now. And we'll check it again. Now that person, the doctor just told him he has a tumor. Do you think that person could sleep for a minute over the next 4 months or 4 years or whatever time it is until he sees a doctor again? No, he can't. Why? Because he knows that no matter what, he has a tumor. There's something there. What's going to happen in 4 months or 4 years? Who knows what's going to happen? All I know is for sure, I know there's a tumor inside. Meaning, it's not getting better. It's either going to stay the same, which is not exactly great. No one wants to walk around with a tumor. Or it's going to get worse. The point is, Rabotai, the fact that we have people that hate the religion so bad, that they're so vocal about their aspiration to destroy it, to destroy the Rabbanut, to destroy the yeshivot, to destroy the kollels, to destroy Judaism altogether, and they still call themselves Jews. The fact that we have that, and those people are in power, shows us that the nevuah, the prophecy, in the Gemara Masechet Sotah, page 49, is coming true, and it's happening fast. The Gemara says that En ben David ba, the Mashiach is not going to come until certain signs are going to happen. One of those signs are going to be that the leaders are going to do the opposite of what's good for the people. That this didn't make sense for a very long time until we start seeing how the picture's playing out. You're seeing that people that call themselves Jews want to destroy Judaism. It doesn't make any sense. No one ever thought such a thing like this would happen. Even during the times of the Churban Beit HaMikdash, first one, second one, we didn't have such people. We had people that didn't follow the Torah. We had people that were against the certain things, but not vocal about their mamash mission to destroy the Torah, even more than the Christians. No one ever thought in their wildest dreams such a thing would happen. These people, mamash, are giving entire lectures, inspirational lectures, as inspirational as Hitler's lectures. You don't have to understand German to be inspired by Hitler's lectures. Why? His voice is scare you to death. You want to do whatever he says. Yeah, him, sure. Whatever you're saying, I'm doing it. Why? Mamash, he was such an inspirational speaker. People idolized him. These Rashaim having the same thing now, having the same effect. Why? Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu is saying you're running out of time. Now, whether they win or not in a couple of days doesn't really make much of a difference. And the reason why is because, like I said, if they don't win now, this tumor doesn't go away. They already tried running some time ago. They lost. They came back stronger. This time. They lose again, Be'ezrat Hashem now. It's only a matter of time before they do it again. A few months, a year maximum, that's it. 4 years. Meaning it's only a matter of time. You're not buying yourself that much more time. And every time they keep coming back stronger, with more money, with more influence, with more everything. Which means, Rabotai Kareem, that we're running out of time fast. The end is beginning. Now, as I always told you, everything that you want to know is always going to be in the parasha. Now, people like these lefty liberals, haters of the Torah, are never going to tell you that. Why? Because they can never admit that there's anything true in the Torah. During the Yom Kippur War, 1973, when everything was happening, they asked, Golda Meir was giving a speech, an inspirational speech. It was a very, very scary war. People mamash thought that this is the end. People thought this is going to be, that's it, second Holocaust. So Golda Meir Yimach Shema, and all the Zionists that are offended by it, good for you. You should be, because you have no idea who you're dealing with. Golda Meir was asked to do one thing. Aside from inspire the people. That, you don't need anybody to do that. What would she ask? In your speech, leave it, please. In your speech, please say, Be'ezrat Hashem. You have a speech? You're going to try and inspire the people? One favor, please. We're Jewish people, right? We're Jewish, you're Jewish. American Jew, you? Okay, now, you ate kosher at some point in your life? Yeah? Okay, Meir is a... Yeah? Say Be'ezrat Hashem in your speech. That's it. Everything else, say whatever shtut you want to say. She refused to say Be'ezrat Hashem. Leader of the Jewish people in Eretz Yisrael refused to say Be'ezrat Hashem. Why? She says, no, I cannot say Be'ezrat Hashem. Why can't you say Hashem? The help of Hashem. You're in a tragedy right now. People are thinking that this is the end. This is the Holocaust. Why can't you say we need Hashem's help right now? She goes, no, if I say Be'ezrat Hashem, people are going to panic. They're going to think, oh no, we've lost all hope. No. The arrogance of the Rashaim is so strong that even at the gate of Gehenom, they don't do tshuva. So don't think, no, don't be so insulting to these liberals, to these lefties. They're still Jewish. If you are merciful on Rashaim, you are a Rasha yourself. That's what the Torah says. Why? Because it's only a matter of time that you will use that mercy that's given, unwarranted mercy that's given wrongly to somebody. and you're going to use the opposite. The opposite on someone that deserves it. That's what the Torah tells us. You're not allowed to be merciful to Reshaim. Someone that's not willing to say Be'ezrat Hashem, that's not a Rasha, I don't know what is. Now, the Torah tells us some interesting things. Before the Holocaust happened, we had our Gdolei Hador tell us some interesting things from the Torah. The Chafetz Chaim was 92 years old, 9 years before the Holocaust. Some say that, Chachamim say that in reality he was 102 years old, not 92, because 10 years against Ayin Hara, he didn't tell people. Only his inside people knew his real age. He was really 102 years old. And he was so old that he couldn't travel anymore to do shiurim, so people would come to his house to learn. At 102 years old, he had some people in his house. Rav Wasserman Alav Shalom was one of the people. And he explained to them that he sees that there's going to be rivers of blood coming very soon if Am Yisrael does not do tshuva. Every person needs to do kiruv. In one of the meetings, Rav Wasserman wasn't there. He had regular people. And he told them, listen, I see that there's going to be rivers of blood coming. We must force Am Yisrael to do tshuva. Now I'm willing, he says, I'm willing to go from house to house to convince people to do tshuva. 102 years old. I'm willing to go from house to house. Hello? Yes, let me show you about Kadosh Baruch Hu, Parashat, Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, gave us the Torah, Moshe, Yeshua ben Nun, and so on and so forth. No. Until we convince them. Finish? Next house, next house, next house. 102 years old, can't move. They called him Zaken. Zaken, he was old already. Says, we have to get Am Yisrael to do tshuva. I'm willing, he says, myself to contribute by going from house to house. Who here is willing to help me? Silence. Not a single person raised their hand. The Chafetz Chaim continued. And he said, you might think that I'm kidding. You might think that I'm exaggerating. What's coming will make the First World War look like child's play in comparison. Who here is willing to help me change the future of this generation? Unfortunately, for 6 million Jews, silence was the only response he had. Now, imagine the pain that the Chafetz Chaim had at that moment where he sees the future. He sees the rivers of blood. He sees millions and millions of his brothers and sisters being massacred in the streets. But he can't do anything about it. Why? Because the guys that have money, they want to buy houses with it. They want to buy more cars with it. They want to buy another watch with it. They want to do more investments with it. They don't want to help people do tshuva. Somebody else can help them. The guys with no money are too busy chasing money. Listen, Rabbi, we're trying to survive here. We don't have time. Get the rich people to do it. The rich people say get the poor people to do it. The middle class guys are like, listen, I don't want to be poor. I'm here. I'm trying to. Everybody's minding their own business. Why? I'm too busy. I'm too broke. I'm too this. I'm too that. Everybody's too. Guess what? Holocaust came. 6 million people died. If we don't do something about what's happening right now, the same thing is going to happen, but it's going to be much worse. And the reason why is because this is the way the prophecy says. Gog and Magog is going to have 3 parts. First 2 parts already happened. First World War, Second World War. First World War was the scariest war anybody ever saw until they saw the Second World War. The Second World War made the First World War look like it was children playing BB guns. And the Chafetz Chaim said that the Third World War, the last part of Gog and Magog, is going to make the second one look like Second World War was people playing with toys. But nobody in their wildest dreams thought that it's going to start with us. But that's what's happening. We figure, the Russians are going to lose their mind, maybe press the red button one too many times. The Americans lose their mind, press the red button. Chinese, the Korean, the Iranian, somebody. No, my friends. It's starting with Am Yisrael. It's starting with Eretz Yisrael, and it's just going to grow from there. The Iranians are already telling us in public news, we can't wait to go to war with you. They announced today or yesterday, they're fully prepared for a full-out war with America, which means, according to them, it's right after they bomb a nuclear weapon on Eretz Yisrael. Chas v'shalom. But that's what they're saying. Because they know, as soon as they bomb Eretz Yisrael, America has to respond as an ally. Now, why would a Kadosh Baruch Hu allow the Iranians to actually do such a thing? Rav Wasserman writes in his epic of Mashiach following. In the name of the Chafetz Chaim, he says, those whose riches are still in their possessions, let them not take comfort in vain fancies that their wealth will endure with them indefinitely. For the Jewish people will be left like an empty vessel. Had they but sense in their heads, surely they would know now how to make use of this money while there's still time. Chafetz Chaim told his students, the world, all of these people think that they're going to protect themselves from this because they have money. They're going to buy themselves a bunker in the mountains. They have money. They do a special deal with Trump to give him, be like one of these, witness protection programs. No one's going to know they're a Jew. Chafetz Chaim says all the people that have money, that take comfort in it, not only will they be punished for it, but they'll see how stupid they are before they are. Why? Because it's one of the prophecies that everyone is going to be poor. Now the Rav Wasserman continues and he says, 20 years have passed since the Chafetz Chaim uttered these words. And now they have come true in their entirety in regard to the majority of the Hebrew people. The Gemara prophesies such a state that the son of David shall not come until Putah ceases from the purse, meaning that everyone's going to be broke. And Rav Wasserman says we see that the wheel of time revolves now with lightning speed. That all of the rich people had their money taken by the Nazis. People that had literally millions of dollars in the bank with paintings, with jewels, money, gold, all that stuff. Nothing was safe. Now this, like I told you, what happened in World War II is going to be like child's play in comparison to what's going to happen. And the reason why is because here, it's only Am Yisrael was affected. Third part, all of the world is going to be affected. Now, I haven't been in the market since I left the business 6 years ago. I haven't followed the market. The only time I get any news about the market is when people tell me. They ask me my opinion by telling me, oh, the market went up today. So now I know the market went up. That's all I know. I don't follow it. I don't care for it. But I took a little 5-minute look a few days ago. And the same exact thing that we had, this perfect numbing silence where everything just continues to go up. Once in a while there's a little bump just to check everybody who's still awake. But in reality it's been going up steadily and no one really cares to pay attention to what's actually making it go up, what's behind all of it. Same exact thing that happened right before the crash of 2008. Now guess what? All the things that caused the 2008 crash people are under the assumption they're no longer there. Like, people think that all the things that caused the crash, the subprime market, mortgage-backed securities, credit default swaps, all the different exotic vehicles that made the crash massive and quick, people think they're not there around anymore. That's the mistake. They're all still there. They're actually much bigger. They're just called a different name. Just call it a different name. Just change the name. I spent probably less than 5 minutes. I looked at a few stocks that I remember from the old days. The multiples, meaning the valuation of these companies, is completely obnoxious. Even the dot-com time did not have such valuations in some cases. Companies are being valued 10, 20, 30 times their revenues. Forget about profits. No one has profits. With the few exceptions at the top that are also crazy, every Joe Schmo with some technology or some app that they developed has some insane valuation. Companies that mamash sell convenience to a few people get valuation as if they are the next Walmart. The crash is going to be severe, but it's not going to be just with stocks. It's not going to be just with gold. It's not going to be just with these fake currencies called, digital currency, the bitcoins and all these other fake money. It's not going to be just with bonds. Currency itself will become worthless. Anyone that wants a hint, just look at Venezuela. Look at Argentina. Look at Greece. Look at all of these governments that pretty much declared bankruptcy over the last decade. Many of them in the last 3-4 years. Their currency became completely worthless. That's what's going to happen everywhere, including America. And that has to lead to a war. Why? That's one of the main things that happens. One of the main tools that governments use to get themselves out of depression is war. Donald Trump has a daughter that apparently converted to Judaism. She doesn't act very Jewish, but nonetheless, she converted to Judaism. People are questioning it. That's really neither here nor there. Everyone was extremely happy when he came into office. Quite frankly, he was much better than the Mustafa that was before him. But the things have changed. Why? Am Yisrael didn't do tshuva. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave them a president that's actually coping with them, likes them, supports them. He gave us a present, we didn't take it. We became more secular. So now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, see, what's the reason? The reason is the present. The present, being the president, is the reason why people actually became more secular. Why? They're more confident. No, come on, we're protected. Trump's our boy. Trumpy. That's our boy. He's going to protect us from Hamas, from Iran, from whoever. All the Jews, the Orthodox Jews I'm talking about. All the Orthodox Jews are much more confident than the last few years. Everybody all of a sudden became a politician. Every 2 days they tell you about some new policy Trump is passing, this, that, and the other thing. Trump a week ago comes out and says, by the way, these Jewish people, if they don't vote for me, they're traitors, they're this, they're that, they're ungrateful. Well, hold on a second. How come nobody ever said that about the Chinese people, or the Mexican people, or the Italian people, or the Greek people, or the Arabs? Why do you mention the few little, rounding error called Jews? Just think about it. How many Jews are there in America? Let's say 6 million. Let's say 6 million. Even if all of them vote for you or don't vote for you, what difference does it make? Showing you clearly this is Yad Hashem. You got the attention of the president that you love so much, but not in a good way. Not in a good way this time. He didn't mention Mustafa. He didn't mention Jose. He didn't mention Chung. He didn't mention all those people. He doesn't care about them. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is getting involved. The thing you had so much faith in, I'm going to use it to hurt you. Why? You idolized him. You think you get salvation from him? I'll show you not. He could turn into Gog in 24 hours. He has all the character traits to fit. The Iranians can't wait to go to war. The Americans are not really sure what they want to do, but something's definitely happening. If there's a market crash, for sure there's going to be a war. And if you think that Israel's not going to be involved, you're dreaming. So now, how can we find everything I just said in the Torah? Last week's parasha and this week's parasha. Last week's parasha says the following: Ki titzeh lemilchama al oivecha. Starts, you will go out to war against your enemies. Why? Why are we going to war? What do we need to go to war for? What do we need to go to war for? First, the parasha talks to us about a ben sorer umoreh. Why do we have ben sorer umoreh? Because we're intermarried. Talks about a woman that comes out of war and so on and so forth. It's not an ideal woman. Yeah, but she'll convert. Who says you need to convert people? Go find a Jew. Yeah, but you found one. Okay, not everybody's as lucky, my friend. You only win the lotto once. What my wife did, none of people's wives are going to do. Why? Go sacrifice your life. Go find a person who's willing to sacrifice their life. You're not going to find many. All the converts that I meet, every single one of them has a story no different than Mount Sinai. Every single one of them that actually succeeded in converting, not wants to convert. Wants to convert, I even have dogs that want to convert. People that succeeded in conversion, mamash, put their life on the line. Mamash, 100%. I got a kid in Eretz Yisrael. His father tried to kill him, mamash, with a gun. When he found that he wanted to convert, he continued. Baruch Hashem, he's a kosher Jew right now learning in yeshiva. People that convert, mamash, put their life on the line. There's not that many of those. There's not that many of those. You think you're going to find any girl you're going to find in some club she's going to want to convert? Why? Because your parents are going to be happy when they're violating Shabbat, but they have her, she's Jewish too? What? You have to be Jewish first before her to be Jewish, or vice versa. So first and foremost, Parashat tells us, you're going to be intermarried, you're going to go with Goyim, Goyot. That's going to lead you to problem. What's the problem? Rebellious, you're considered a ben sorer umoreh. You yourself are considered, and you're going to have wayward children. Today, Rabotai Karim, people have no value whatsoever to marriage. People have kids with 2, 3, 4, 5 people without even marriage. Without even marriage, not even contemplating marriage. Oh yeah, this is my son from my first husband, second husband, third husband, fourth husband, 5. How many husbands do you have? How many you have? Was it Monopoly? You landed on this and go to jail, go back to the same. What happened? How come? One, okay, divorce happens. I understand. Unfortunately, it happens in the world. But why so many? I mean, after it failed the first 2 times, didn't you maybe want to call it quits? I got one woman, she calls me every day crying about her 4th husband. I can't help somebody else. Why? 4th husband, it's you. First one, I could say it's him. Second one, I could say it's him. After you killed 3, the 4th one, it's you. 4th one, it's you. It cannot be 3 people. Cannot be. There's chazakah already. But this, Rabotai, people are treating marriage like they're treating buffalo. They eat buffalo, don't like the taste, throw it in the garbage. So, we are going against the Shem. Parasha continues. Talks about business. Concern for your brothers and sisters. Many times we see people struggling financially. We tell them, listen, why don't you pray to Hashem? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, someone that tells another person that's struggling to go pray to Hashem when he's able to help him financially, it's a sin. Why? He's not looking for you to give him spiritual guidance. He's looking for you to give him money. You want to help him, give him money. You're a friend, he's your brother, he's your sister. He's struggling, he can't pay the rent. Don't give him spiritual advice. Give him money. Why? That's what's going to pay the bills, not your spiritual advice. You want spiritual advice, he's going to go to his rabbi. But people want to give spiritual advice to everybody. Oh yeah, you're struggling financially? Oh, here's a shiur. I came to you, I drove for a half hour to your house for you to give me a shiur. But that's why. Why do people do such things? Why do people have such carelessness? Because they don't care about anybody else. They don't care about anybody else's property. And that's what it says in the parasha. It says, if you see your neighbors donkey, ox, something, it's fallen in the hole. Don't just walk away. Say, oh, it's not my donkey. No, it's not my problem. Why? He's struggling. It's not my problem. Oh, somebody else will do it. That type of attitude is hated by Kadosh Baruch Hu. What else are we doing? What else are we doing? Parashat says, "Lo yeh kli gever al haisha, v'lo yilbash gever simlat isha, ki to'evat Adonai Elohecha kol oseh ele." Man garb shall not be on a woman, and man should not wear women's garment. For anyone who does this is considered an abomination to Hashem. Men dressing like women, women dressing like men. It's considered disgusting in the eyes of Hashem. Little do we have, so we're going to get to the rest of it, of all the other filthy stuff that they do. We're just talking about clothes. Modesty is simply unheard of. Women think that they're the only ones obligated to be modest. Men also. All these guys that are wearing tight jeans, these tight pants, skinny pants, whatever you guys call it in this filthy generation of skinny jeans and fashion artists, it's 100% asur. You're not allowed to show your body that way. This is the reason why our sages wore clothes that's similar to what the Arabs wear. This glima, this clothing. It wasn't because that was the style. It was for modesty reasons. All these guys that are wearing clothes where you can pretty much see their body part, like they're the Greek god Zeus or something, walking down the street, guess what? You have a problem. Why? It says over here, you're dressed like a woman. Dressed like a woman. But also, all women that are wearing pants, guess what? Pants are men's clothes. You're not allowed to wear pants. Yeah, but I'm comfortable. Okay, in Gehenom they have a lot of comfort over there. The comfort in, comfort out, comfort, a lot of comforts. Why? So Torah says not allowed. Why? Because this leads people's mentality to go away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Something as simple as that. Something as simple as that. Now, Teat is the next mitzvah that's mentioned in the Torah after Shluach HaKen. Most people don't even know what that mitzvah is, so we'll skip it. Simply to get the eggs from a nest and shoo the mommy bird away. But if you do that today in America, most likely they'll send you some department of animal affair or something that's going to put you in jail for stealing chicken eggs. You can eat it, but you can't steal it. You can eat the pig, but don't feed him, non-kosher diet. But then it says, mitzvah of tzitzit. Mitzvah of tzitzit, you shall make yourself twisted threads on four corners of your garment, which you shall cover yourself. Gemara Masechet Menachot says, mitzvah tzitzit chova? Mitzvah tzitzit, you have to. It says if you have four corners, like it says in the Torah, four corners. So Gemara says, okay, so if you don't wear it, it's okay? If you don't have four corners, let's say you have, it's round. Round. Let's say you don't wear tzitzit. It's okay? Gemara says, well, I don't know, if you consider being the first one to get punished when there's a decree on the nation, okay, then yeah, it's okay. Wait, hold on a second. What do you mean punished? You just said, I'm allowed if there's no four corners. You go, yeah, you're allowed. You don't have to wear the tzitzit. You don't have to wear the tzitzit unless you have the four corners. But if there's a decree from heaven to punish the people, like the Bet HaMikdash, like the Inquisition, like the Holocaust, like unfortunately what's coming, guess what? The first people that get punished are people that don't wear tzitzit. Why first people don't wear tzitzit? How come it's not the Mechalel Shabbat? How come it doesn't say the guy that went with another guy? How come it says the guy that doesn't wear tzitzit? It says because the guy that didn't wear tzitzit knows he can wear the tzitzit, but he chose not to. He chose not to. Why? It says, listen, that guy is viewed in Shamayim as someone that's extremely arrogant, where he said he had a free mitzvah. What? To wear a shirt with strings. And he can make a mitzvah every second he exists. But instead of doing it, he didn't do it. So, in Shamayim, they say, oh, why, you're so arrogant about all the mitzvot you're going to have? You're so arrogant that you don't even want to get this free mitzvah. We'll show you a day you're going to need that mitzvah. When? The time when Hashem Yachem. That's what, Rabotai Karim, all the guys that are not wearing tzitziot, you want to wear tzitzit, I have some in my car, you can have them, I'll even give it to you for free. Just please wear tzitzit. You have to beg people to wear tzitzit. Oh, I'm hot. Like you're not hot anyway. It's 900 degrees in Florida. The air conditioner is at 60 and it's still 900 degrees somehow. Then we say later, next mitzvah. So far, have you guys found anything we haven't violated? Next mitzvah. Says, והוצא עליה שם רע. ואמר על האישה הזאת לקחתי ויקרב אליה ולא מצאתי לה בתולים. Says there's a guy that marries a woman and but didn't really like her. So then he said, he starts saying all types of accusations against her. Comes out with lashon hara, richilut, all types of things. That's all people do on the internet. Come out with lashon hara and richilut. If it's not against their wives or their ex-wives or their ex-husband or their boss or the ex-boss or the rabbi or the ex-rabbi or something, that's all people do all day. All day people go make comments against people. All day. Now if you're a rabbi, you actually say the truth, you have letters, WhatsApp messages, all types of things. Mamash, you have like 2 mailing lists. One with like 3 decent messages, 5,000 of Reshaim that keep cursing you out. That's the way it is. Why? That's the way people do. Last week, one guy that, Baruch Hashem, I helped him do tshuva, decided to make a public comment on the internet. Please, everybody, don't send me any more videos from Rabbi Yaron, Reuven, and Rabbi Mizrahi anymore. I'm just not into him anymore. The guy did tshuva because of us. He was a donkey just a couple years ago. Now he did tshuva. He says to people, no, I don't want it anymore. Some other guy that we helped made a comment. He goes, yeah, you know what? I agree. And then they started getting a thread. They had to make a public comment about it. So Baruch Hashem that it happened. It shows us how ungrateful people really are in the world. Now, next it talks about adultery, cheating. I don't even have to go into details about this one. The divorce rate in America in some places is 90%. On a good day, it's 81%. I mean, you have a better chance of throwing a coin in the middle of an ocean and finding it than actually surviving a 10-year marriage in America. Why? People are cheaters. People are liars. Every other day somebody calls, oh, listen, I don't know what to do. What happened? Oh, listen, I don't know, I'm married. Oh, Baruch Hashem. Well, yeah, I'm married, but I also have a girlfriend. Okay, so break up with her. He goes, no, I can't. We have a kid together. With the wife? No, with the girlfriend. When do you have time? Oh, we've been going out already for 5 years. I'm like, how? How do you do it? How do you live 2 lives? Every other day is like this. 2 stories inside of 1 month. 2 stories inside of 1 month. 2 stories. I thought it was the same one. I think I told you guys this. In 1 month, someone tells me, one guy tells me, my father we just found out that my father has a girlfriend on the side with 4 kids. Has a girlfriend on the side for already 18 years with 4 kids. Somebody else came up to me, goes, listen, I need to help my friend. I need to convince him to leave this girlfriend. He has 4 kids with her already. And I said, oh, yeah, I already know about the story. He goes, how do you know? I'm like, oh, the son told me. He goes, he doesn't have a son. He has 4 daughters. It's a different person. Different person. Forbidden restricted marriages. Shem Yachem. We just talked about it. Now, there's an interesting section here where it talks about who we're not allowed to marry, who we're allowed to marry, but also talks about conversions. It says, "Lo yavo Amoni v'Moavi b'kal Adonai." Gam dor asri lo yavo aleim, that the Ammonites and the Moabites are not allowed to convert. So then someone who hasn't read commentary will say, wait a minute, hold on a second. Mashiach is coming from them. It says over here, you're not allowed to take conversions from the Moabites. David HaMelech's grandmother was Ruth from Moab. So how come he's going to be the Mashiach comes from her? How is that allowed? If you look at the language, the Hebrew language is very different than English. Male and female is spelled differently. When it's referring to a male, it's spelled one way. When it's referring to a female, the same word is spelled differently. So here it's referring to the male. The male Ammonites and the male Moabites, they're not allowed to convert. But the females are, which means that Ruth's conversion was 100% permissible. Now, another place that it mentions the Moabites and the Ammonites in the Torah is in another peculiar place, in the book of Judges, Sefer Shoftim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rebukes the people, and he says, the children of Israel continued to do that which was evil in the eyes of Hashem, and they worshipped the Baalim, the Ashterot, the gods of Aram, the gods of Sidon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the children of Ammon, the gods of the Philistines. They forsook Hashem and did not serve him. So, here it's talking about 18 years that Am Yisrael went against the Kadosh Baruch Hu by serving all of these different gods. But it ends with a very interesting thing where it says, wait a minute, they went and worshiped all these gods, 7 different gods, the gods of the Moabites, the Ammonites, this one, that one, the Philistines, and they didn't serve Hashem. So Chazal says, wait a minute, obviously if they're serving the Moabite idol, or the Baalim, or the Ammonites, or the Christians, or the Arabs, or whoever they're serving, obviously they're not serving Hashem. Why are you mentioning that they're not serving Hashem? This, Rabotai Karim, if it doesn't break your heart, you should check. Go to the doctor tomorrow, get an x-ray, see if you have one. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling Am Yisrael? Pay attention to this one. It was worth it to come to the world just to listen to this. Most of us, when we cry, what do we cry about? We cry about money, we cry about shtuyot. We don't cry about the Shekhinah. We don't cry about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What do we cry about? We cry about that we didn't get, they just ran out of potato chips in the shiur. That's what we cried about. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying this. You went and worshipped the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Philistines, all types of other gods. You went to Christianity, you went to Islam, you went to atheism, you went to Buddha, you went to the Indian people, you worshipped the cow, the rat, the mouse, the bicycle, Wall Street. You worshipped everything and you didn't worship me. Meaning what? What does the Kadosh Baruch Hu says? He says, you know what? Fine. You want to worship all these gods? You're crazy enough to go worship Wall Street, go worship money, go worship girls, go worship guys, go worship all these shtuyot. Fine. At least worship me also. Meaning, fine, you're already worshiping everything else. Throw me in the mix. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is calling to Am Yisrael, okay, fine. You worship all these gods, fine, fine. At least give me at least say Shema Yisrael for me also. But that's the busha, Rabotai. That's the busha, that's the rebuke of rebukes. That with all of our stupidity and our idolatry, we chase after money, we chase after girls, we chase after boys, we chase after basketball, we chase after all types of material, we chase after everything except God. You tell a guy, listen, you want to come to the basketball game? It's 10 o'clock at night. It starts in 20 minutes. Sure, I'll be right in your house. 5 minutes, I'll be there. You call the same guy. Listen, we're not going to go to the game. We're going to a shoe instead. Nah, I'm tired, man. You know what? Thank God you called. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm already in bed. I was going to call you. I'm not coming. To go watch some idiots throw a pigskin and put it in some round hole, then you're going to go at 10:30 at night. Go to Shiur Torah. I'm tired. Tired. Listen, we're going to have a couple of drinks. You want to come? For sure. When? We're going to go pick you up at 12:30 at night. When everybody else is sleeping, that's normal. We're going to pick you up. Okay, no problem. Listen, in the morning, we're going to go pray. Nets. No, I'm tired. I'm tired. But to go out at 12 o'clock at night, you're not tired. To go in the morning, you're tired. To go pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're tired. To go out at 1 o'clock in the morning, do some ecstasy, we're not tired. You tell a guy, listen, we have to work overtime. You have to start working Sundays. No problem, boss. No problem, boss. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, listen, you need to learn every day. You need to learn every day. I don't have time, Hashem. To work overtime, we have time. To work 6 days a week, we have time. But to learn Torah every day, we never have time somehow. To go make money, to chase money, we have time. So now you would say, okay, you know what? He's working so much, he can't come to the shiur. He works so much, he can't come to the shiur. So at least, you know what? He's probably making so many millions. He's building yeshivot. He's building kiruv organizations. There's a new hidabrut, a new Be'ezrat Hashem every week. You ask the guy, so how's everything? Struggling, man, struggling. What do you mean? You're working 9 days a week. How are you struggling? What's the point of working if you're struggling? Go work 9 to 5 at McDonald's or something already, if you're struggling anyway. You're struggling anyway, might as well struggle on a normal schedule. Go wash cars, you'll struggle also. But at least you have a normal schedule. He's not struggling. He's wasting every bit of his energy chasing a false god, and he gets no bracha. He loses in both places. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, you went, you chased money, but what did you do with this money? Did you donate some money so you can help Am Yisrael do tshuva? Did you donate for somebody to do tshuva? Did you donate for somebody to learn Torah? Did you publicize Torah with this money? No. What did you do with this money? You bought another watch. Donation, $200. Watch, $20,000. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Ma'aseh, just with less zeros. Watch, $20,000. Wedding, $50,000. Donation, $20. Monthly though, monthly, just automatic charge. Automatic charge on the credit card, monthly, $20. The car, $1,300 a month. But Siddur, he still borrows like a little kid. Still borrows from the Beit Knesset. He can't buy a $20 Siddur. Why? We're chasing everything except HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The parasha continues. Talks about wasting seed. It says a person that wastes seed has to be thrown out of the camp. Chapter 23, verse 10. When the camp goes out against your enemies, you shall guard against anything evil. If there will be among you a man who will not be clean because of nocturnal occurrence, he shall go outside the camp. He shall not enter the midst of the camp. Rabotai Karim, I'm sorry to tell you, if this was still valid in a sense that it was applicable, where we knew who and what and when, we'd simply have no soldiers. Why? Everybody would be out of the camp. Today, it's an epidemic where wasting seed as simply has become mutar in the eyes of people. It's such an epidemic in the secular world. It's such an epidemic in the religious world that when you tell young boys, young men, older men, avrechim, and even in some cases rabbis, that you're not allowed to waste seed, I tell you, no, it's impossible. I say, well, the Shulchan Aruch says you're not allowed. The Gemara says you're not allowed. The Torah says you're not allowed. I have almost 30-something shiurim, talking about maybe 500-600 sources from across the Torah saying it's the worst sin in the Torah. I never heard this. So what'd you learn? I don't know. I learned Halachot Shabbat. Okay, Halachot Shabbat also talks about it. Go to Gemara Masechet Shabbat also talks about it. Oh, we skipped that part. What else did you learn? Halachot Avodah Zarah. Oh, Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah also mentions it. Masechet Nida also mentions it. Almost every tractate in the Gemara mentions it. How come you don't know? The secret is, Rabotai Karim, is what Rav Wasserman says. Rav Wasserman says that as long as a person is nagua, as long as a person is biased, meaning he still likes the sin, he's still connected to the sin, he's still sinning, he cannot see the truth. You can show him all the proofs in the world. You could bring Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu comes. I'm going to sit in the crowd with you guys. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to come next week. He's going to give a shiur about wasting seed. Guess what? No one's going to listen anyway. Why? Because most people are still doing it. This is the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu made the next parasha, which we'll go into in a minute. Parashat Ki Tavo. Why? Telling people it's not allowed is not enough. It's not enough. Why? Because people just say, no, he says not allowed, the book says not allowed, but nobody else says it. So maybe it's just his opinion. Yeah, but it's not his book. He's reading Shulchan Aruch. Says the worst sin in the Torah. He's reading the Zohar. He's reading the Gemara. He's reading the Chumash. He's reading all the Torah. Yeah, but he's the only one doing it. There are thousands of rabbis around the world, and only 1, 2, maybe 3 rabbis speak about it in English. So, what, you're going to say thousands of rabbis are lying, and this guy from Wall Street is telling the truth? Nah, come on, it's probably the opposite. He's a liar trying to get an audience. Shakchak. He's like Howard Stern in Machshimo. He's trying to get attention by putting some taboo subject on the internet so people could listen to him, get views. One of the biggest tikkunim that you have doing this is dealing with Pgam Abrit. Why? Number one, the list never ends. That every day there's new people that contact me every day that I try to help them one-on-one, guidance, this, that, the other thing. It's a never-ending list. You pretty much see that they come from all walks of life. All walks of life. Male, female, old, young, rabbi, student, secular, religious, non-Jews, everybody. Pretty much you have 8 billion people. If they're male, most likely they're wasting seed. It's mamash an epidemic, just like the Zohar Kadosh says. It's going to be a tikkun of the generation. So you have a never-ending list of people that need guidance. That's not necessarily such a bad thing. What's the bad thing? You get to hear everybody's details every 2 seconds. I know more about the male member than most people that are doctors. And you try to help people, and then you try to pick them up when they fail, and then they tell you 5 minutes when they fail later on, and this and that, and then on top of all of it, while you're trying to help people for free and do whatever you can, finally they stop. Baruch Hashem. They go to shul. They tell their rabbi, look, I'm 50 days without wasting seed. The rabbi, which secretly wastes seed himself, tells him, what are you talking about? It's not relevant for our generation. Who told you that? Rabbi Reuven told me that. He goes, no, come on. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Finally, you got this kid. After 2 years, you finally convinced him to stop wasting seed for 50 days straight. He's proud of it. He finally went to shul. He goes to shul. The rabbi ruins him in 2 minutes. You're back to square one. If he doesn't have an amud shidra, he doesn't have a spine, he's not going to survive. Why? Because most likely, he's going to go to people, ask second opinion. Second opinion is not going to agree. Why? Because second opinion either doesn't know or is a sinner himself. Wasting seed, Rabotai Yekarim, is one of those things where you're not going to be able to see the clear truth unless you're outside of it, like anything else in the world. That's what Rav Wasserman says. Rav Wasserman says that as long as you are biased, you're not going to be able to see the picture clearly. People ask advice about marriage, about divorce, about all types of things. Women ask me all the time, I hate my husband, I want to leave, I want to this, I want to that. Okay, son, listen, go to the Rabbanut, I divorce. No, but I love him. You just told me you hate him. You wrote me a thesis, 5 pages, explained to me how much you hate the guy, and you want him to die mitah meshuna, a strange death, unusual death. I tell you, okay, go to Rabbanut. Why are you coming to me? I'm not Rabbanut. Okay, you already hate him, you already established that truth. Okay, finish, go to Rabbanut, say I want to divorce him, da-da-da. No, but I love him. So why'd you make me read 5 pages, Ribono Shel Olam? Still biased. You're not going to be able to see the truth. Next, talks about further in regards to sexual purity. Promiscuity for men or for women is considered disgusting in the eyes of Hashem. So much so that he says in chapter 23, verse 18, there shall not be a promiscuous woman among the daughters of Israel, and there shall not be a promiscuous man among the sons of Israel. You shall not bring a harlot's hire in exchange for a dog to the house of Hashem your God. Not for any vow, for both of them are an abomination of Hashem your God. HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers promiscuous people. You have a girlfriend without marriage, you're considered promiscuous. even if she's the only girl you've ever been with. Even if he's the only boy you've ever been with. You're not married, you consider promiscuous. Now, how do we ever get to a point of being promiscuous? Promiscuity shouldn't be a problem. Why? If you keep yourself, it shouldn't be a problem. You look at the verse before it. All of the ladies, grab your chairs, because this refers to you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves the prayer of women. Loves them. Why? When a woman prays, she cries very easily. She connects emotionally to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in 2 seconds. Guys, maybe you hit them with a bat in the face, maybe they'll start crying. Women, 2 seconds. She thinks about her son, she starts crying. She thinks about her husband, she starts crying. She thinks about that she doesn't have a son or a husband, she starts crying. She thinks about that she's a little overweight, she starts crying. She thinks maybe she's losing too much weight, everything she starts crying. She connects to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mamash, like it's speed dial. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves the prayers of Bnot Yisrael, loves them. But sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want your prayers. Your prayer is rejected. When? Chapter 23. Verse number 15. At the end of the verse, V'lo yireh becha ervat davar v'shav me'acherecha. Says that he will not see a shameful thing among you and turn away from behind you. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees erva, which in English is translated to shameful, we'll explain what shameful means. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees erva, he runs away. He runs away from you, turns away from you. So Gemara asks, what's erva? Erva is nakedness. Literal translation to erva is nakedness. The Sfat HaKodesh does not have names for the male member or the women private part. It's such a holy language, there actually isn't a word. There isn't a word like there is in English or other languages that says that if you say that word, you know for sure that's what it's talking about. There is no word that says the male member. There is no word for female member. There isn't. It doesn't exist. That's how holy the holy language is. Hashem does not use that language. Even when HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks about promiscuity, he talks about it in the opposite way. Meaning, he says, Lo tiyeh kedesha mibnot Yisrael, velo yeh kadesh. Kedesha sounds like, wait, there shouldn't be a holy woman? There shouldn't be a holy man? No, kedesha, here it's being used opposite. Meaning, the opposite of kadosh is promiscuous. So, erva means nakedness. Erva means nakedness, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself says here, when there is nakedness on a woman, Hashem runs away from her. Now Chazal says, what is considered nakedness? The Gemara in Masechet Brachot says, Kol Aisha Erva. Kol Aisha Erva. What's Kol Aisha Erva means? The entire woman is considered nakedness. What does it mean the entire woman is considered naked? What, she should just put a sack, covers her face from head to toe? No. Everything that's supposed to be covered normally, according to normal society that existed 3,000 years ago, not today, is supposed to be covered. If it's not covered, it's considered nakedness. Meaning, the face, allowed to see it. The hands, the palms, allowed to see it. The feet, allowed to see it. The neck, allowed to see it. That's it. If she shows her chest, if she shows her arms beyond the elbow, if she shows more than a third of her leg, meaning beyond her calf, everything is considered nakedness. But then Chazal elaborates even further. Kol ha'isha erva also includes her voice. A male is not allowed to listen, a Jewish male is not allowed to listen to a female sing. Why? Because that leads him to think all types of things just like as if she was naked. Women don't understand this. Why? Because they don't think like men. They look at a guy and they say, wow, he looks funny. Wow, he looks generous. Wow, he looks like a nice guy. Guys don't think like that. They think, wow, she looks, okay, we're going to get married tonight. That's what he thinks. He doesn't think about her personality, nor does he care. Why? He thinks one thing, one direction, unless he's holy. He's holy, he doesn't look at girls. But a person that's a normal male, that's the way he thinks. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you know what she looks like, you're not allowed to even listen to her sing. Why? Because if you know what she looks like, you're going to hear her voice, you're going to imagine. So much so, the mind of the male is so flawed to such an extent, meaning so not flawed, but rather so vulnerable, I should say, so vulnerable that if he sees a woman's clothes hanging outside, he's not allowed to look at it. If he knows what she looks like, he's not allowed to look at the clothes. Why? Because he's going to imagine her in the outfit when he sees her next, or out of the outfit. Now, this leads a man to wasting seed. Now, women, the ladies, unfortunately, sometimes they don't understand what modesty means because no one ever taught them. So modesty does not only mean cover your body, it also means that you have to make sure that you behave modestly. You don't talk to strange men just because you want to be friends with them. No girl should ever have boyfriends, meaning even as friendlies. There's no such thing as platonic relationship in Judaism. If he's your husband, good, you're allowed to be friends with him. If not, he can be friends with somebody else. Unless he's your brother, there's really no reason to be friends with him. Why? He's not thinking the same way you are. He's not thinking the same way you are. Next thing is also, she has to understand that if her clothes or attitude grabs the attention of the public, it's not modest. If her clothes are so tight that any average guy could simply know without much imagination what her figure looks like, it's not modest. You cannot wear tight clothes as a woman. Why? Because it's the same thing as being naked. You're not leaving anything to the imagination. The only person that should know what you look like naked is your husband. This is extremely important, not only for the guys, but for the women. Why? Because all the time that you pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're going to cry, right? Why waste your tears? Why are you wasting your tears? If you're not going to be modest, don't even pray. He's not listening to you. It's what he says. If you're not going to cover your hair, you're not going to cover your body, you're not going to control your attitude, don't even bother praying. Why? Because Baruch Hu is running away from you anyway. So the least that a woman should do is understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you and loves you so much that he wants to protect you from yourself. He wants to listen to your prayers. But there are certain conditions. In order for him to open all the gates of heaven, in order for him to listen to all the things that you want him to listen to, whether it's to bring a child to the world, or improve your shlom bayit, or improve your parnasah, or whatever it is that you're crying about, is a simple minimum requirement. Just be modest according to halakha. There are rules in the Torah. You're not allowed to show things that are considered erva. Erva is not a rabbinical mitzvah, like some people think. It's not an opinion by me. It's not an opinion by Rabbi Mizrahi. It's not an opinion by Rabbi Yashiv or Rabbi Ovadia. It's not an opinion by a rabbi. It's what the Torah says. A woman must be modest, meaning everything that does not bring attraction by itself, it's something that's normally seen, you're allowed to show, which, like I said, is the face, the hands, the feet, certain small part of the leg, the ankle. That's pretty much it. If you're going to buy shirts, make sure that they cover the bones. The bones on the neckline must be covered. If you're going to buy shirts, they have to be long sleeve. Why? Because even if it's short sleeve, for sure it's not modest. If it's tight, for sure it's not modest. But if it's long sleeve and you don't necessarily want to cover all the way to your wrist, you can cover but still cover your elbow. The point being, Rabotai, is that every one of us has problems. Every one of us has a need for Hashem or is going to need Hashem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you want me to listen to your prayers? There's a small little requirement, Bat Yisrael. Small little requirement, please be modest. Why? If you're not modest, I can't come. I can't listen to you. Purity of a person is extremely important to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is why, right, the next mitzvah, he talks about the things that have to do with vows, have to do with your word, have to do with the sanctity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes this stuff very, very seriously. After that, he starts talking about how people manage their business, their finances in regards to paying back debt, paying the employees on time. I did a short shiur about it last week, about people that have employees. If you have employees, make sure you pay them on time, because every second you don't, it's considered gezel. You have to be very, very careful with paying your employees on time. Don't be one of these people that tells people, listen, I'll pay you on Monday. Well, it's Friday though. I worked, so I get the payment on. Yeah, but the company's not doing that good, so I'll pay you on Monday. It's not my problem. If I'm an employee, it's not my problem your company's not doing good. If I'm an employee, I'm working wage. I'm working for the salary. I'm not working for profits. Whether you make a profit or not is not my problem. Why? Because if you made more money, you're not going to pay me more. So that's the point of being a partner. If I'm going to be a partner, then yeah, that profit should affect me. But if I'm not a partner, you have to pay me on time. People do not understand this. They just dodge their employees and pay them whenever they feel like it, because they know it's not so easy to get a job. This is a very serious problem. So, talks about people that do not hold these laws very dear to them, people that embarrass other people in public. A person that embarrasses another fellow Jew in public loses his share of the world to come. And then the parasha ends up with the mitzvah of to remember Amalek. It's a mitzvah to remember Amalek. What does Amalek have to do with this? Anybody ever think of that? What does Amalek have to do with all these mitzvot? Why didn't he bring it in the beginning of the parasha? At least when I'm talking about war. What does that have to do with the end of the parasha? If you notice, one little insight could be that it says, remember Amalek. Why? Because he did not fear God. This Amalek did not fear God. So what does that have to do with anything? All of these sins that we talked about, the only way to follow, only way not to sin with immodesty, only way not to sin with payment, with business, with interest, with sexual purity, with vows, with your word, with everything, is Yirat Shamayim. You have Yirat Shamayim, you, my friend, will be a holy person. If not, you'll simply turn into Amalek, lefty liberal. No Yirat Shamayim, that's what the result is. Now what happens to Amalek? What happens to Amalek? Person doesn't have a Yirat Shamayim. What happens to him? That's the definition. Rav Zidber alav Shalom wrote him to remain a Jew. What's the definition of Amalek? Somebody doesn't have Yirat Shamayim. That's what it is. So, what happens to Amalek? This week's parasha. These lefty liberals that are trying to take over the Israeli government, they already took over the control of the many things here in America, and they're trying to do the same thing in Eretz Yisrael. What happens to them? Parashat Ki Tavo, this week's parasha. This week's parasha starts talking business. It says you're going to call to Hashem. And Hashem is going to have to fulfill the Torah. How so? There are blessings and curses, Moshe says. In chapter 27, verse number 11, Moshe Rabbeinu says to the people, these shall stand to bless the people of Mount Gerizim. He tells the 6 tribes that are over there. And Mount Eval, the other 6 tribes. And then he says, ארור האיש אשר יעשה פסל ומסכה תועבת אדוני מעשה ידי חרש ושם בסתר וענו כל העם אמרו אמן. It says person that makes a molten image, a graven image, is an abomination to Hashem, even if he does it in secret, and the entire nation curses him, says amen. Accursed is the person who moves the boundary of his fellow. Accursed is a person who puts a obstacle in front of a blind person, perverts judgment of a convert, of an orphan. Accursed is a person who does not uphold the words of the Torah. Someone that goes against the Torah openly, Chilul Hashem, or someone that tells people don't go to a shiur, or some person that even cancels a shiur for no reason. Says that person is cursed. And all of the tzaddikim in heaven, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, all of them say Amen. Meaning, all of the tzaddikim curse this person in Shemaim. What happens to these Amalekites, these people that keep violating the Torah regularly? HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes through a list of curses that happens to these people. We're not going to go into the details, but you should watch my shiur about Parashat Ki Tavo, because it literally describes the Holocaust. It literally describes everything that happened to us in the Holocaust, in the Spanish Inquisition, in the Bet HaMikdash, the first one, the second one, all the details, to the last cent, every part of it. Yakeka Adonai b'shigaon ve'ivaron ve'timon levav, says that the beatings that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us if we don't do tshuva will be to such an extent that we'll go crazy with blindness and confounding of heart, meaning that a person is simply going to lose their mind. They're just not going to know what to do with themselves. There's one tragedy. Before they got over this tragedy, there's another one. Before they got over this another one, there's another tragedy. There's so many tragedies, they're going to miss the tragedy of yesterday. Yeah, but yesterday you lost 3 people that you know. They all died. Yeah, but today was 4. Shem Yachem. Yesterday was better. Yeah, but yesterday you lost all your money. Yeah, today you lost a child or something. Hashem Yachem. The punishment is so bad at the time of a decree from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you don't want to mess with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He talks about all types of diseases that exist, that don't exist in this world. First time I ever went in this parasha in a shiur, 5-6 years ago, I went over each one of the curses, and I showed how almost every single one of them happened to me personally. Shtabach Shimolad. I think the only reason the others didn't happen is because I didn't get to it yet. People think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is just going to sit there quiet forever. Please, make sure to read the parasha and understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not joking. Now, it says a lot of things that are very scary. And he says all the things that once there's a decree that comes from Shemaim, there's a gzerah, nothing will help it. It's too late. Which means, Rabotai, that we have to use our brain and see that it's not a coincidence or happenstance that all of the things that are happening in the last couple of weeks happen to happen during these parashot. They could have happened in Parashat Bereshit. They could have happened in Parashat Lech Lecha. They could have happened in Exodus, in Shmot. Could have happened in any parasha. It's happening now for a reason. Kadosh Baruch Hu tells you, look at all the sins. We reviewed all the sins. Did any one of them not match everyone in this generation practically? We could pretty much see ourselves or somebody we know in almost every sin. You did it, you're doing it, so you know somebody is doing it. Every sin. Everybody knows somebody. Or is a perpetrator themselves. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you don't start taking things seriously and start doing tshuva, stop focusing on potato chips and cell phones, and start taking attention to your neshama, only bad things follow. What's an example? 70 years ago. Now, many times you tell people this, people run away. They don't want to hear it. It's too harsh. It's too scary. I need a softer rabbi. I need a softer shiur. So what are you going to do with the parasha then? You're just going to skip it as if it doesn't exist? This is what the parasha talks about. I didn't add anything. In fact, I didn't tell you everything. There's much worse. Talks that one of the levels of sins, the fifth level of sins, that we get to such level of starvation, we start eating children. We didn't even go into the details of what that looks like in real life. It happened. It happened to Am Yisrael several times. The first Bet HaMikdash, second Bet HaMikdash, and including the Holocaust too. Parents ate their own children. Not because they wanted to. Desperation. Rabbi Yaron Alav Shalom says that he spoke to one of the Holocaust survivors and told him, in the train, when they were, these Nazis would put them on trains and lock them in there for weeks. People would die in the train. They would open the train. There was 3,000 went on the train. 600-700 survived. The rest of them died. One of the Holocaust members said, as soon as somebody died, everybody jumped on him. Why? Felt bad? No. Take the liver to eat it. That's how much that's starvation makes a person go crazy. You can't judge them. We would do worse. But that's what happened, Rabotai. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to bring us to that. But we're bringing ourselves to that. And one of the reasons is because as soon as we hear the truth, many times we either run away or we just keep it to ourselves. Now, there is something you can learn from the Rishaim. You can learn something. I was telling somebody today, we had a conversation, and they mentioned something that I really wasn't interested in. Something, I don't know, a mall or something. And she said, oh, you're not interested. I said, no, I'm interested. I'm not interested in the subject, but I'm learning. Keep talking. Why? You can learn something from everything. Even Stuart, you can learn something from it. If you're looking at the right way. Now, you can learn from Reshaim. What can you learn from Reshaim? The Chazon Ish, Alav Shalom, is one of the greatest men that lived in the last 100 years, probably not just 100 years, ever. In his Emunah in Bitachon, in the section about Bitachon, chapter 5, chapter 4 actually, he says the following. If a person lacks bitachon in Hashem, it's considered as if it's a machzor nefesh. It's like a flaw in his thinking. It's a flawed thinking. To such an extent, if he doesn't have bitachon, to such an extent that it's as if he has no no connection to the basic tenets of Judaism. He has no bitachon. It's almost like he has almost like a different religion. He's not considered necessarily a Rasha. It's just like what he has and what real Judaism is, it's different. Why? How could you say you Shema Yisrael and you're not even confident in this being that you're saying Shema Yisrael to? It's a problem. But he doesn't call him Rasha. It's not a problem. It's not like, it doesn't make him wicked or somebody that we hate. No, Chas v'Shalom. That's almost all of us, by the way. None of us have enough bitachon. But then he continues. A zaifan, but the false sense of trust is far worse than that. It's wholly bad. He says, the person who doesn't have bitachon, it's like almost like he's not connected to the real Judaism. But the person that has false bitachon, fake bitachon, he teaches emunah, but he doesn't have real emunah. He talks emunah, but doesn't really have it. He says that one is much, much worse. That's mamash tragedy. This person who trusts falsely is no better than one who does not trust at all. In fact, he who does not trust avoids much of the outrage and destructiveness that's associated with the faker, the false truster. The guy who doesn't have enough emunah, he's not as destructive. He's independent by himself. He doesn't have emunah. He's suffering by himself pretty much. But the faker, he is destructive. How? The one who lacks emunah, does not attract disciples, nor teach anyone about trusting in Hashem. But the one that has fake emunah, he teaches others to be false just like him. He's totally without trust himself and will not cause, the one that doesn't have trust will not cause any desecration of Hashem's name. But the falsehood of the false one, when that's revealed, his despicable actions against his fellow man will become known, and then people will say of him, look at that man who studied Musar, but look how shameful his actions are. Look how ugly his actions are. He says the person that's a faker, all of these fake speakers, whatever they are, these self-help people, some Jewish, some not, he says those people are much worse than anybody else. Why? Because they have disciples. They teach people their fakehood. They teach people their falsehood. Now, the Chazon Ish says earlier that it's easy to have bitachon in times of when there's a need to trust. It's not really playing an important part in your life. Meaning, right now, everybody's doing good financially. Most people have a job. If you invested in the last few years, you probably made money. If you have a house, it increased in value. Most people, if you own a business, you're probably doing okay. Most people are doing good financially. So right now, it's easy to have emunah. Why? Everything is going okay pretty much, more or less. It's going okay. But the Chazon Ish says, times like that are easy to have bitachon Hashem. Times like that are very easy. When is the time that the bitachon is tested? When it's not the time to scream out bitachon, when there's blood in the streets, when you don't have a job, when there's a Holocaust happening, spiritual one, physical one, whatever it is, when everything that could go wrong is going wrong. Now, how could somebody ever get to such level of bitachon? We've talked about it. We've talked about how you have to build bitachon based on Yirat Shamayim. But if you look at most of the teachings today in the world, a lot of them don't talk about Yirat Shamayim, but every average Joe just starts doing videos on YouTube, starts talking about emunah. Everybody's an emunah teacher. Emunah.com, emunah.org, emunah.this, emunah.that. Everybody's an emunah expert. But Yirat Shamayim, almost nobody talks about. Why? It's much more sellable to tell people to just have faith. But any real chacham will know that actually that type of teaching is not only said by the Chazon Ish that it's a person like that is a rasha, you have to stay away from him, but it's actually the opinion of the Gemara. The Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin says that we are forbidden, page 21b, we're forbidden from teaching Torah based on a reward. Forbidden. And Yakut Yosef says in the name of the Gemara the following. Yakut Yosef says the following. He says, one must understand that the fundamental principles of the Torah, that the main purpose of fulfilling the mitzvot is simply because God decreed so, and not because we understand the reasons behind them. As it says in the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin, page 21b, Rabbi Yitzchak says, why were the reasons for the reasons of the mitzvot not revealed? Meaning, how come we don't know why we're doing mitzvot? How come we don't know the real reason behind keeping Shabbat? Now you could say, oh, it's a break. Yeah, but that's not the real reason. Why, I think Hashem really gave you a Shabbat just so you take a break? Why do we eat kosher? Oh, it's healthy. You really think Hashem made kosher food just so you made for unique species of animals that you could eat just so for health reasons? It's better off just giving you the man. The man, no one ever got sick. So it's not for that. In reality, we don't know the reasons for all of the mitzvot except two. The Gemara says, how come the secret of the mitzvot wasn't revealed? And the reason is because two were revealed and led the smartest man that ever lived to make a mistake with them. First mitzvah, it says that a king should not have many wives. So Shlomo HaMelech, Chacham Mikol Adam, the smartest man of all time, says, why does it say don't have many wives? Because the Torah says don't have many wives because your heart will stray away from Hashem. So Shlomo HaMelech says, I'm so wise, I know this. So I'm going to have many wives and I'm not going to stray away from Hashem. Yeah, this mitzvah is for everybody else. That's not as wise as me. What happened with Shlomo HaMelech? In the book of Kings 1, chapter 10, verse 29 says, and when Shlomo was aged, that his wives inclined his heart. And Torah says that in the end of his lives, Hashem looked at him unfavorably because his wives steered his heart again, away from Hashem. Not becoming necessarily a rasha or anything, chas v'shalom, but he did not reach his full potential because of his many wives. Same exact thing happened when Shlomo HaMelech saw the other mitzvah, which is to not to have many horses. Not to have any horses, because that will lead you to go back to Egypt. So Shlomo HaMelech says, okay, I'll have a lot of horses, but I'm just not going to send anybody to Egypt. But what does it say? Again, the same exact thing happened. One day, Shlomo HaMelech wanted to buy some unique horses, but the main horse market was where? In Egypt. So he sent his people to Egypt to go buy him some horses. So Torah says here, teaching the details of the mitzvot is not good for Am Yisrael. The smartest man of all time failed at it. Needless to say, we will fail at it. But from there we learn, the Gemara says, from there we learn that we are not allowed to learn or to teach the mitzvot based on the reward. This pretty much cancels out a good portion of shiurim. Why? Most people are trying to convince you, if you do this sgula, you're going to get a lot of money. If you go to Beit Knesset, you're going to get a lot of money. You keep Shabbat, you're going to get a lot of money. You get this, you're going to find zivug. You get this, you can have shlom bayit. You get this. If that's the reason why you're doing the mitzvah, the Gemara says it's only a matter of time before you break Shabbat. Why? If the reason why you're doing the mitzvah is because of the reward, the Satan will one day come to you and tell you, you know what? That's a good reward, but who needs it anyway? Come on, you're not ready to get married anyway. Don't keep Shabbat. No, you're not ready to, you don't need a lot of money. You already have enough. Don't do this. The reward one day will become unfavorable in your eyes. And if you're only doing the mitzvah because of the reward in this world, Gemara says it's only a matter of time before you break that mitzvah. You make a sin. Why? Because eventually you're going to say, you know what? I don't want the reward and I don't want the mitzvah that goes along with it. So now we have ourselves, Rabotai, a generation of atheists, liberals, lefties, and then we have a good portion of secular Jews that are not lefty liberals but are ignorant, clueless, like most of us were at some point in our life. And then we have a few religious people. It's important for all of us to know. If chas v'shalom there's a decree that comes, whoever did an act now will be part of it. Someone that did not take advantage of the opportunity that they have information that they could share with people to help them do tshuva, they have money that they could use in order to help people do tshuva, they have time, they have a skill to help people do tshuva, and they don't use it, they're not excluding themselves by being in the middle of nowhere. It's the opposite. They're throwing themselves in the basket of others. Why? Because they're the reason why nobody else knows. Hashem gave them a certain amount of money so they could use that money to publicize Torah. They didn't use that money to publicize Torah. They used it to buy cars and houses and horses and all types of things. Hashem says, okay, there's a certain amount of people that did not do tshuva because you didn't invest the money. A certain amount of people did not do tshuva because you didn't share the lecture. A certain amount of people didn't do tshuva because you didn't share the truth in any other way or form. You're at fault. You can't just say, okay, they're going to go to Gan Eden, they're going to go to Gehenom, you're going to go to Gan Eden. It doesn't work that way. So this, Rabotai, is very, very important news. You have to know that right now we're in dangerous times. Right now we are in scary times. And every one of us has to take the bull by the horn, if you will, and do something about it. Do something about it. The religious people cannot just think that they're going to protect themselves. The secular people cannot just think that they don't need the religious people. If there's no religious people in the world, there's not Am Yisrael, period. There's no world. Hashem wrote this Torah. Even the secular people admit that Hashem wrote this Torah. He didn't write this Torah for secular people that violate Shabbat. He wrote the Torah for the people that keep the Torah. So if there's no people keeping the Torah, then obviously there's no reason for the world. So the secular people need the religious people a lot more than they realize. But the same thing goes vice versa. The religious people need the secular people. Why? Because you need somebody to do tshuva to give you a purpose of your life. To give you a way to you do tshuva. Because there are certain sins that every one of us made that we simply cannot fix by ourselves. We need somebody else to fix for us. Somebody wasted seed for the first 20, 30 years of their life. You can't fix that by yourself. You need somebody else to do tshuva for it. Somebody violated Shabbat for the first 20, 30 years of their life. You can't fix that by yourself. The most you can keep in 1 week is one Shabbat. Only way you can keep more than one Shabbat is if you get other people to keep Shabbat. Somebody was imadas for the first 10, 20, 30 years of their life. Guess what? You can't fix that by yourself. Even if you become Rabbanit right now. Tzadikah, everything is good. Still, what about the first 30 years you got Am Yisrael to sin and everybody else to sin? That doesn't go away by itself. Only way is to get other daughters of Am Yisrael to start becoming modest. Every girl has to become like a little Rabbanit. Has to become modest. Why? Because of you. Because you're telling them, listen, don't make the same mistakes I made when I was 16. Don't make the same mistakes that I made when I was 18. Don't make the same mistakes when I was 25. What do you get out of being immodest? A bunch of construction workers to whistle at you like you're a dog? What do you get? A bunch of guys to undress you with their eyes? What do you get? What do you get out of it? Attention? You know, also gives attention to girls that are immodest? Stalkers, rapists, all types of sick people. They also give attention. You're not going to find them stalking some really big tzadikah for two reasons. Number one, they're not interested. Why? She's not just. There's plenty of half naked. They already did half the job for them. Easier customers. And two, they don't have. She has protection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The tzadikah has protection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She walks the street with millions of malachim. The girl that's not snua, that's not mada, she walks with shedim. She doesn't realize. She doesn't see them though. Because every time a guy sees her, creates a sin. He creates a sin, it creates a demon. That demon walks with her wherever she goes for the rest of her life, until she does tshuva. So, you don't get anything out of being immodest anyway. No one wants to be the arm candy. No one wants to be the girl that's on the side. Everyone wants to be a respectable woman, a woman that's admired, a woman that's respected, a woman that's appreciated. You have to appreciate yourself. You have to respect yourself. You have to act as if you are a princess, because in the eyes of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you are. Princesses do not walk around immodest. It doesn't work that way. They walk around with gowns all the time. That's how a Bat Yisrael is supposed to walk around. So, if you tell people, listen, if you're modest, you'll find a zivug. It's only a matter of time before one of those girls tells you, take your Torah and give it to somebody else. Why? Because sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes, yes, part of her tikkun is to be modest, but that's not necessarily the reason why Hashem is going to give her a zivug. So if you tell, if you're modest, you're going to get a zivug, unless you have Ruach HaKodesh or you have a special high level of prayer, you're making a mistake. Why? Because sometimes the Kadosh Baruch Hu is not going to make it happen. And if she's not strong enough, and she's going to be modest for a year, she's not going to find a zivug, she can leave the whole thing. So you cannot teach the Torah based on reward. So right now, all of the religious people need to understand. You need the secular people because you yourself have to do tshuva. You yourself have to make sure that your children do not end up like the secular liberal people. And guess what? If there's more liberal lefties in the world, that means there's a higher likelihood of your children, your grandchildren, ending up married to them. If you're even fortunate enough for them to marry Jews, bichlal. In this generation, you're lucky if your kids marry Jews. Needless to say, religious and so on. So, the point is, Rabotai, is that there's really not that much time. There's not much time to sugarcoat. There's not much time to beat around the bush. There's not much time to wait for people. Every person gets one shot. You give them the information. They show interest, you continue. Don't necessarily need to do tshuva on day one. They show interest, you continue. They don't show any interest, move on. Why? Not enough time. It's not enough time to just sit there and wait for the guy 3 years until he starts keeping Shabbat, putting on tefillin. There's not enough time. There's millions of easy customers, millions of them. Millions of our brothers and sisters are interested. They just don't know they are yet. So don't waste your time and energy just on 1, 2, or 3 people because they're close to you. Their blood is not any redder than some other Jew's blood. You have to work on them, you have to work on everybody. But the point is, Rabotai, every one of us has to do something. And the reason why, we'll finish with this. The last thing the Gemara says that happened before Kadosh Baruch Hu decided to pass the decree to destroy the Bet HaMikdash is when no one wanted to do anything about it anymore. And we say it in our Tfilat Shachrit on Mondays and Thursdays, a pasuk from the Gemara, Masechet Chagiga, says, Anshe Emunah Avadu. There were no more people to tell the truth. No more people to tell the truth about Emunah and Hashem. Once no one cared anymore, the religious people didn't care anymore, Kadosh Baruch Hu says that means that there's no way for anybody to do tshuva from all of these rabbis. Why? Because all of these fakers, what are they doing? They're spreading false emunah, not real emunah. They're just creating a chilul Hashem. They're just creating a falsehood, creating a bunch of false teachers. And that's what's happening. These false teachers are creating tragedies. Tragedies. One of these people that I've mentioned in Shiurim that I told you guys you have to stay away from, some people didn't want to listen to me. They continued listening to him. They even got marriage advice from the guy. Specifically, I told people to run away from this guy because of his flawed marriage advice. In the name of Emunah. Well, guess what happened? The marriage advice didn't work. They got a divorce. So you have another divorced couple in the world. Not only were divorced, both went off the derech. Now we're trying to pick up the pieces. In the name of Emunah. Emunah without Yirat Shamayim is not Emunah, it's delusion. It's being drunk. So this, Rabotai, is what we have to understand. We have to take it into account. We have a very critical couple of days in front of us, but even more than that, we have a critical Rosh Hashanah coming up. These next couple of weeks, you have to start taking some things on yourself. You have to start taking things seriously. Anyone that wants to help our work in the coming year, Bezrat Hashem, can contribute, like I said, on the website. If you have something that's a way to publicize our Torah by making a shiur in your community, please let us know. But the point being, Rabotai, is that everything starts with our own independent tshuva. Everybody starts with their own tshuva, their rebuke on themselves, and little by little, if every one of us rebukes ourselves, we're going to become holier than what we are, and we're going to influence the public much more than we could imagine. But at the very least, you have to understand the danger that's around us. Because it's one of those times where pretty much there's no other way to say it. There's no nicer way to say this. It's just it's a difficult time. It's a scary time, and it looks like there's not going to be a corner in the world that's going to be safe. America, Israel, Europe, everywhere. All this stuff is happening everywhere. All you got to do is pay attention. Now, to delve on it too much and go into every detail and start monitoring the news and every pro-lesbian, pro-gay event you're highlighting, or every single rabbi that's wicked you're highlighting, and every single anti-Torah thing you're highlighting, to become obsessed with it is not going to help anyone either. The only way to beat the Tumah is by adding Kedusha to the world. So each one of us has to increase the Kedusha in the world by our own actions, and Bezrat Hashem, we will show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that at least we may not be as righteous as we should be, but at least we didn't stop fighting. We didn't stop fighting to honor his name. So at least we have some more time. We have some more time to help more of our brothers and sisters do tshuva, whether they wear a shtreimel or a baseball hat or a small kippah or they're bald is irrelevant. Point is, you see a Jew, try to help them. If they're willing to accept it, continue. If they reject it and they even go against it, move on. There are too many easy customers waiting to be helped. Any questions? Beseder Rabotai, we have a shiur. Next shiur is going to be on Tuesday. We're going to continue our Igeret HaRamban, a very different shiur than tonight. And then Wednesday we'll have our shiur about questions and answers. Also pay attention to the schedule. We'll update it probably in the next couple of days. During the next month, there's not going to be many shiurim. There's going to be on the average maybe one shiur per week. Because of the holiday falling in on days of our shiurim and so on. So at most, there's probably going to be about one shiur a week. I'll try to maintain that, B'ezrat Hashem. But the point is that if you're a local, you should take advantage of every shiur that we're going to have in these next week and a half or so. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.